Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Cynthia Smith. I work with the Office of International Students and Scholars, and it's so great to see some old friends here. Thanks, you guys, for getting on. I know there's people are coming from all over the world, so good to see you. I pass it to Takahiro.
Hi everyone, my name is Taka Nakamura. Well, Takahiro Nakamura, but I just usually used to go by Taka, so I think many of you all recognize my name as Taka. It's great to see some of you all who I recognize. Cynthia, especially, it's been a while, but it's great to be able to have this online conversation because. Over here in Japan, I don't really get to join any alumni things. So thank you so much for hosting this. And should I pass it on to someone?
Sure.
Who would be great? I guess Missy was the next, right? Who I joined after this. So Missy, please.
Okay, great. Hi, it's Missy here. I graduated from U of A December 2014. I moved back to Bentonville recently, a year ago. So just not too far. Just I saw the Facebook event, so I joined. Hi, everyone. Cynthia.
Hi.
Hey, Anastasia. So great to see you guys. Hey, too. MJ. Oh, there's a few people I know. Okay, so I'll pass it to Anastasia.
Awesome. Well, my name is Anastasia. I go by Anna. I was an international student at the U of A in, oh my gosh, 2011. It's been almost 10 years. It's been 9 years ago, and I was a non-degree student, so I didn't actually earn a degree there, but I do recognize a couple of people, Missy, MJ. So nice to see you. Cynthia, yes, it's so great. And yeah, it's really nice to connect with some of the old friends and get to know some of the new ones. I actually have, so I got my master's after going back to Ukraine. I came back to the US to get my master's at the Ohio University in Athens, Ohio. And one of my colleagues from Ohio University just moved to Fayetteville. So her husband, Mohammed, is teaching, I think, linguistics or I don't know, speech pathology, I don't know, something along those lines. So it was really interesting when she reached out to me to ask me about Fayetteville because she found the records, she found my pictures and my videos that I was in Fayetteville, and she's like, tell me about it, I'm going there. So so that was really fun. Yeah, and I guess I will pass it on to MJ.
Hi guys, I missed the first part.
Yes.
Can you guys hear me okay? Cool. Hi guys, I go by MJ. Real name is Meng Zhao, originally from China. I went to the U of A for both of my bachelor's degree in economics and international relations, and then grad school in a master's degree in operations management. Graduated in, I think, 2016. Yeah, and I actually recently moved to Toronto, Canada. Now working as a product manager for a logistics company here. So yeah, I think I've seen some familiar faces. It's so cool. Yeah, it's good to see you all.
I am Jay.
Hi. All right, so am I supposed to pass it to somebody else? I will pass to somebody I haven't met before. Azul, A-Z-U-L.
Hi, thank
Hi.
you. How's everyone?
Pretty good.
So I graduated from my bachelor's at the U of A in 2016 from also international relations and political science. That seems to be a very popular degree for us international students. And then I'm from Bolivia originally, so I ended up in Fayetteville because of for the same reason that most of the Bolivians end up there. I was part of that big community, and now after doing Peace Corps and then after working a little bit in Bolivia again, I'm now doing my master's degree at LSE in London, where I actually met some other people from the U of A in my exact program. So that was a huge coincidence, but it's lovely to meet people that know your alma mater as well. So yeah, and I'm very happy to connect with all of you. I'm gonna pass it over to Lee.
All right. Thank you, Azu. So, hi everyone. Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So I go by Tu, and my real name is also Tu. I'm from Vietnam. I studied and graduated from U of A in December 2015, and then I went to Texas for grad school. I'm an Aggie, so please don't hate on me. And now I slowly drifted to Washington D.C. and Baltimore. So I'm currently working in Baltimore, Maryland right now. Okay.
Two, once you get Razorback in your blood, it's never displaced. It doesn't matter where you go.
I am.
You're all right. You're good. Okay.
Yes, I'm half Razorback, half Aggie. How about that? Yeah. Okay, so let me pass on to someone I also have not met before. So say Rita. I think yes, Miss Rita.
Hi, I'm a graduate of the University of Arkansas, and I live in Oklahoma City, born in Illinois, so I'm not a foreign student. But I was a member of the National Board of Directors of the Alumni Association, and I heard the ROMs speak, and I noticed that they were going to be speaking maybe today, and that's why I decided to tune in.
Well, Rita, welcome, and a great background that you have.
Oh, thanks.
To be absolutely honest, I have not personally seen that for 12 weeks and 1 day.
Oh. I haven't seen it in a couple of years, unfortunately.
Nice background, though. Welcome.
Okay, Rita, pass it on to somebody else that you don't know on the screen that hasn't been introduced.
Well, I kind of tuned in late, but so I don't know if they've been introduced or not. How about Veronica?
Okay, so yeah, I kind of got late too. Sorry. So yeah, what we're doing, I'm so sorry. I just got in and I'm just all over. So just introducing myself and what I'm doing, I guess.
Yep.
How awesome you are.
Hey, Taka.
Yeah.
Hey, Mrs. Smith. Sorry, I do know quite a few people here. Okay, so I'm Veronica Salazar, and I was born in Peru. I think I met actually Dr. Rom. I don't know, you remember me, but way back when Gu Mongmong was your advisee. So I was one of her closest friends, and I always walked with her, and I went to your office all the time, even though I was not in horticulture. But yeah, so that's how we met, probably 15 years ago or 20 years ago. But right now, I'm the Assistant Vice President for Student Affairs at Henderson State University in Arkadelphia, Arkansas. I guess I graduated from the U of A in 2005. And then I worked there at the international office and the multicultural center. Then I moved to Georgia, Savannah, Georgia, to work there. And then I moved back in 2003 back to Arkansas. So I'm here. I worked with a lot of students. I love what I do. I think my passion for higher education. I started with international students office. Thanks to Mrs. Smith, I was looking for volunteer work. I wanted to volunteer because I was bored, and she sent me to volunteer at the international office, and I got stuck there. I started working part-time and then full-time, and then the rest is history. I never thought I would end up in higher ed. I got my master's and doctorate in adult education at the U of A. And it's, you know, it's been great journey. And all of my background in international education is because of the international office and what I learned from the students and the coworkers that I had the pleasure of working with. So I think that's it. Oh, I got married 2 years ago. I have a baby. I got a baby. I have a 3-month baby. Never thought it happened. I thought Mrs. Smith would have a baby and she would name that baby after me, and she never had another baby. So here I am. But so I have a 3-month-old baby, and she's right now somewhere in the house. So she's trying to keep her quiet. But yeah, that's all about me.
Congrats, Veronica.
Thank you.
Never got to told you.
Thank you. Hey, Alice.
Hey. What's that, Dr. Salazar? I'm on my iPad. I can't see.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, it feels like 2008. I just wrote Addie. I was like, oh, you have to get on here. And Cecilia, wherever I can't see her, and everybody else I love. Nice.
So am I supposed to pass it to somebody else?
Yeah, you can pass it on to somebody else that hasn't had a chance to be introduced yet.
Okay, well, I came in a little late. So what about Coffee Addo?
Coffee, have you had a chance to introduce yourself?
Thank you, Veronica. Yes, my name is Kofi Addo. I'm here with my wife, Ruby. We are both Arkansas alumni. I'd like to let her speak first, and then I'll finish it up, if that's okay.
Okay, like he said, my name is Ruby, and I graduated in 2006 with a degree in transportation and logistics. I worked in the concrete wall for a little bit, but now I'm doing what I love to do, which is teaching preschoolers. So we live here in Mansfield, Texas, and now I'll let it talk some more.
Yeah, like I said, my name is Kofi Addo. I came to Arkansas in 1997, graduated out of it 2003. So I'm a full Arkansan, a Razorback. Everywhere I go, I've been around a little bit. I moved from Arkansas. I went to Phoenix, Arizona, moved to Portland, Oregon, and currently I'm in Dallas, Texas, where I'm working for a firm that has about 40 offices across the United States, where we specialize in civil engineering work. So when I was at the U of A, there's nothing I didn't do. I was a resident assistant. I was part of the international culture team, conversation club, whatever I want to call it. I was part of it, and I really enjoyed my time out there. Hopefully we get to do that more out of school. Thank you. I'm supposed to pass this on. Let me see. Seems everybody else has spoken with the exception of, is it Adnan? Have you already spoken?
You're correct. We have
All
not.
right.
So, my name is Adnan Al-Rubai, and Hala Zoin is my wife. I'll let her introduce herself in a second. We both finished our degrees back in 2013. So we came from Iraq in 2008, and I was working on my doctorate in cell molecular biology program, and ended up finishing a doctorate in CMB and then master's in science education, and accepted a faculty position in 2013, and also associate director for the program I graduated from, which is the CMB program. I recognized some of the faces, Veronica, probably Cecilia, and I think I've seen Anastasia before. But anyway, of course I know Cynthia, and I think I know the Romes, maybe. So good to see you in Romes.
Hi.
And, good to see you guys. So anyway, let her introduce herself. Both of us now faculty at the University of Arkansas. I know if you guys would like to come to Fayetteville, feel free to email us, and we'll be more than happy to have you some food in our nice and humble house.
so nice.
I am Hamra Zuain, and I graduated last year, 2019, with a degree, PhD in curriculum instruction. I am working right now as a part-time faculty at the University of Arkansas teaching Arabic. So here they are. If you want to take some Arabic, come to me.
Did you guys meet before you moved here?
Yes, we did. So we got married in 2002 back home in Iraq, and then moved here in, again, 2008. We became citizens just 2 years ago. Yay, finally. Glad it's not at this time now. It's going to be a mess. And yeah, and we have 3 children, 17, 15, and 13 years old.
Oh, wow, what a happy family.
Thank you.
Nice. Kofi, how about you? Did you guys meet at the university? What did you?
We have a long history. Actually, we're both from Ghana, and incidentally, we lived in the same area. We went to the same elementary school. So I came to the United States first, and then she followed after that. And I actually asked her to transfer from her school in Iowa.
Luther College, Iowa.
To Arkansas, and then after that, after college, we got married, and we live happily ever after, and we're still living. So hopefully it stays that way.
Nice.
And we have 3 kids too. To have 2 girls and a boy, 12 and 10-year-old girls, and a 5-year-old boy who thinks he owns everything in the house. We keep treading him along. Thank you.
We met at the University of Arkansas. We were college sweethearts and got married.
All right.
Awesome. Sorry, I didn't mean to distract the conversation. You guys can keep
doing fine. Thank you for asking that. We're interested in everybody's story. Those are good stories.
Yeah, they are. Love brought us together to U of A. Here we go. That line.
We have a number of other staff here, Michael and Cecilia and members of the Alumni Association. Do you want to introduce yourselves real quick? First come, first serve.
I'll introduce myself. My name is Mary Kate Harrison, and I'm with the Arkansas Alumni Association. And I want to thank you all so much for joining in today. We're so glad to be able to bring everyone together. And thank you to the Romes and the Graduate School and International Education for hosting this. This is such a great way to bring people all together, even if we're all over the place. So.
Thank you, Mary Kate. It's good to see you.
Yeah, thanks for the organization. Yeah, Mary Kate, you live 3 or 4 miles away, and this is the first time I've seen you in a half a year.
I know, it's been a while.
See Mark.
Mark, why don't you say
hi? Hi, I'm Mark Power. I'm the Vice Chancellor for University Advancement, and it's just great to see everybody. Thank you for taking this time to join us on this great day. And Kurt and Melissa, thank you for hosting us. Look forward to hearing more about everybody, what they're doing and just what's going on in their lives right now. So thanks.
You know, I have to take a lot of credit for Mark Power.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you want to do that.
Because I was on a search committee that we hired Mark, I don't know, a couple decades ago.
It was a couple decades.
He's not that old.
Yeah.
He was just a kid, and we brought him to the university, and I knew from the minute I met him it was going to be a good decision.
Oh, that's very nice. Thank you. It's been a great career here. I've really enjoyed it.
Oh, we got somebody in a hog hat.
Yeah.
Zooming in from New York.
Hog hat.
Yeah.
Kurt and Melissa, how you doing? It's been about 1.5 years since I've seen you.
Yeah, you avoid us when you come to town, but I understand.
Well, you know how it is. So since it's happy hour, I'm having a New England style IPA. What do you have there?
Well, I'm having a French Côte de Rhône Rosé.
Nice.
Honor of being international today.
It's so hot. I'm drinking iced tea.
All right.
Yeah, Wayne. For those of you you don't probably know Wayne. Wayne is a
cheers, Wayne.
Wayne is a very renowned chemical engineering faculty member at Rensselaer Polytechnic University, has degrees from the University of Arkansas. And Wayne and I grew up together. We've known each other since about training wheels on our bicycle time.
And we'll stay that way because it's not long before we're back on training wheels, I think. Right?
Yeah, now we're going to be using four-wheeled walkers for too long.
That's right.
So who else from the Alumni Association is here? And we have, I saw Julie and Deb a while ago.
Hello, I'm Julie Simpson, and actually a lot of these faces are very familiar to me. I think I'm the Associate Director of Special Events and Facilities, and I know I've worked with many of you on events, and it's great to see everybody. You know, it's awesome. And I'm hanging out at home in my little farmette in Prairie Grove. This is one of my little chickens. This is Little Man. He's a Bantam rooster, and working from home, but it's just so awesome to see all of you, and I hope everyone's staying safe. And we really appreciate the Rome's hosting. And I look forward to when we can all be back together again.
Oh, me too. Me too. In the new world, it's going to be a new world. Deb, introduce yourself.
I'm Deb Ucolano. I'm with the Arkansas Alumni Association. It's a pleasure to be here. I had the privilege in student affairs many years ago with Michael Freeman and the connection with international students. So it's a pleasure to reconnect with some of our international students, and thanks to the ROMs for hosting the happy hour tonight.
Wonderful. I see Amy Unruh. Amy, you want to introduce yourself?
Well, if I can figure out my microphone, yes. Hi, I'm Amy Unruh. I think I can actually turn on my video so I can wave at everybody. Hi. It's great to see you all from across town. I'm the communications director for the Graduate School in International Education. I'm new to that role. I've been at the university about 3 years before that, and had the privilege of working with Deb and Julie and Mary Kate at the Alumni Association, and it's just really fun to be here and see everybody from all over.
Well, wonderful. Glad you're here. Michael Freeman. Everybody knows Michael in International, so just say hi.
Go, Mike.
It's so good to see so
Go,
many
Mike.
from all the years. I'm glad y'all have come. I'm enjoying watching Cynthia's background change every 10 minutes. So it's good to see all y'all.
Hey, Mike, how many years has it been now?
About 35, something like
Yeah,
that.
you would know everyone then.
Yeah, it's amazing. He started when he was 15.
Wow, impressed, Mike. So good to have you.
Hey, I was going to use my future Razorback. And Mrs. Smith actually just sent her this yesterday, a Razorback outfit and a bib and shoes. So
that's wonderful.
Sorry, I didn't want to distract everybody, but since she's quiet.
About 17 more years, right?
17 more years. Wait, you know.
Yeah.
Make sure you maintain your membership in the Alumni Association so she gets the Legacy Scholarship. It's really important. Just think about that. A real small membership to the Alumni Association gives you the Legacy Scholarships, and just like you, your children's names will be on our sidewalks, at least if they graduate before whatever it is, 2045.
If we can find some more sidewalk, we just got to keep pouring sidewalk.
It'll be bigger by then. I see Alice, and I saw some of my former students, Eric Staffney. Eric, are you still around, or do we get Alice? You've introduced yourself.
Hey guys. I graduated from Milwaukee College in 2012, and I used to work in Spring International, Conversation Partners program. So it was always really fun to have different international students. And then I went abroad for a semester to Spain, and then I went to Ghana, Africa with African American Studies. on the first trip to study the transatlantic slave trade. So we're all in social yesterday because it was 10 years to the day. And so I was like, I can't believe it's been 10 years, but yeah, and then hi to everybody else that I know. I feel like it's like, this is like the biggest reunion one I've been to. There's like Mark and Cecilia and Veronica, and there's so many people here, Deb, and yeah, I'm happy to see you guys.
Yeah, you got to introduce yourself even though you're driving somewhere.
Yeah, we're driving. Hi, everyone. My name is Cecilia Grossberger. I'm happy to see all those familiar faces. It's been a while. I graduated in 2008 from my master's degree in communications. I work for the university. I've been at the university counting my GA years, 16 years now. And my husband also graduated from the University of Arkansas in 2000. My daughter, Nicole, graduated twice with her undergrad and then her graduate degree last year. So, you know, it's in the family. And then my 13-year-old wants to go to the University of Arkansas. That way she can take naps in my office when she needs to, because she wants to live with us. She says she doesn't want to live on campus. She wants to live with us, but she wants to take naps in my office.
Well, you know, my father worked at the university, and I'm not sure I took naps in his office, but I did use his office to study at times when I needed some privacy. When Wayne Beckett wasn't bothering me. Wayne was one of these really smart guys. He got all his studying done during the day, and every night he was out for some form of adventure down on a street that runs east and west in Fayetteville, a bordering campus.
I'm not sure I ever went anywhere without you, though, Kurt. So I was hoping Mark would be able to join us tonight.
But, you know, they're probably busy in Washington, D.C. doing Beltway stuff.
Few things going on there.
Yes. Anybody else didn't have a chance to introduce themselves that would like to? I can't, our screen is out of reach, so I can't move it aside to see who we've talked to and who we've not talked to.
I see Adele hasn't talked, Sulen hasn't talked.
Oh, good.
Christina.
Adele,
I'll go ahead and introduce myself.
There you go, Sulen. Yeah.
So my name is Suelen, and I'm the graduate assistant for the IFM program. So I'm working right now at the IS office. I'm doing my master's degree in counseling, and I graduated a year ago from my undergrad in psychology.
So an alum and an employee, we understand that.
Yep. I'm very glad. I just love it so much. I needed to stay a little longer and get the master.
Well, we're not able to follow the chat, but make sure you open up the chat window. You guys can talk to each other. And I wanted you to make sure that you saw that the Alumni Association has some backgrounds that you can download so that when you do Zoom or WebEx or Teams or Microsoft Messenger, which now works well, or FaceTime, you can put in a university background. So make sure that you're paying attention to the chat window.
Already done.
Good job.
Looks great.
Did anybody else want to say hi and introduce themselves? Did I lose Eric and Rochelle? They probably logged off. They were two of my students that wanted to join. They joined for a little while, but they're also in a different, maybe in a different time zone, had to move on. And I think they're living South Mississippi, and they're worried about the hurricane moving in. Oh, I see, Julie, you got to say hi to everybody, introduce yourself. Forgot you. Julie?
Hey everybody, this is Julie Olson. I work with Mark Power in our University Advancement Office, and I actually work as Director of Development for the Graduate School of International Education. So it is so exciting to see both some familiar faces that I've met before, but also see a lot of new faces. And so I hope that once we're able to travel again, or perhaps we could do so virtually, I would love to get together with you and talk with you about some of the initiatives we have going on, whether it be coming back to speak to students or supporting scholarships and other initiatives. A lot of my work is in fundraising development and alumni relations. So we'd love to hear your ideas about how we can do a better job of reconnecting you with each other and with the University of Arkansas.
Well, good. What we'd like to do is take maybe 10 or 12 minutes and tell you about what life on campus has been like and what our lives have been like. For the first time in our 37 years, although we've always worked together, we've never worked quite this closely together as we have the last 12 weeks and 1 day, not that I'm counting. But let me tell you a little bit about the University of Arkansas. Although I'm the Associate Dean for International Education, I'll be honest, I feel like for the last 5 months or almost 6 months, I have been the Dean of COVID. So just as we were coming back the week before our classes started on January 13th, I track what's happening in international events, and we saw this unexplained pneumonia, a coronavirus-based pneumonia starting to occur in China. And we tracked that because I had several students that were doing a semester study abroad in China. We had 4 or 5 faculty traveling to China in January, and we actually had a number of scholars that were doing work based at universities in China. And so we started paying attention to this. About January 24th, China declared a state of health emergency, and the CDC and the WHO concurred. And so on January 24th, we had to make the decision to pull out all of our students, our faculty from China back to the United States. We thought that the health risk was too high for them to be in country. Shortly thereafter, our country put a travel ban between China and the United States. Then we got to the end of February. Amy, who's on this call, we were watching what was happening. Amy and I and our study abroad director, Sarah Malloy, and student affairs with Melissa, we reactivated kind of a committee that was functional only as needed, but we called it the Communicable Disease Committee. And we were monitoring the global situation. And we had made a decision as a committee that if we reached a certain level of infection in other countries, we would start to pull our students and faculty back from those countries. Well, to be absolutely honest, late Friday evening on February 28th, Amy and I were having an after-hours meeting with Sarah Malloy at Carnell Hall at Lambeth Lounge, and all of a sudden we all got a text message that said the CDC has issued a health alert for Italy. Well, we had around 175 students, faculty and staff in Italy that we all of a sudden at 5:30 in the evening needed to make a decision, and by 7 o'clock we had made an institutional decision to recall those students. That was followed by Spain and France and Germany, then the entire EU, then global on March 11th when the WHO declared a global pandemic for the coronavirus. We decided to recall all of our international travelers, and in fact, as an institution, we decided no more international travel was warranted. 2 days later, on March 13th, our institution had already, this Communicable Disease Committee had said, our threshold for closing down the university, not closing the university, but for discontinuing face-to-face courses would be 1 coronavirus positive infection in our community, in the city of Fayetteville. Well, that occurred on March 13th, and so we suspended classes face-to-face classes and we went to remote on March 13th. So that was a Thursday. And so yesterday was the 12th week of that, and we're now in 12 weeks and 1 day from that particular decision. We continue to see infections. We declared a state of health emergency in the state of Arkansas. It resulted that on April 3rd, we discontinued on-campus activities, and we went to remote operations for the most part. And to be honest, we've been functioning in remote operations since that period of time. We discontinued face-to-face classes, and all of our courses for the summer are remote. We discontinued all study abroad and international travel by our institutional policies until the fall, although we're planning to open up beginning in the fall semester. Kind of the big news in the end of that story was on June 1st, the institution released our restart of campus, back to school, back to class. And so our plan is that for the fall semester, we will resume activities on campus, although they'll be different. We're now in COVID world, and we're learning to live in COVID world. And that's changing the way we're gonna do some things, but we're gonna be back as much as we can to who we were and who we are beginning this fall semester and resume those activities. Granted, they're gonna be a little bit different. I'm gonna turn this over to Melissa, and maybe she can tell you a little bit of her story from student affairs side.
Well, first of all, Michael, I want to thank you for providing such great care and support to our international students. I would be remiss if I didn't thank our housing, our residence hall staff, who have continued to support students as well as dining services. So we are so grateful to have such dedicated staff. Cecilia, I know you've been a part of this. We've got a dedicated community at the University of Arkansas that takes care of students, and student affairs is just a part of that, but we partner with so many people in our greater community to take care of our international students. And we can't wait to see international students back in full force on our campus as a part of our community, because we just wouldn't be Razorbacks without it. So hands clapping for Michael Freeman and everyone else on our campus that takes good care of all of our students, and particularly international students. I would say these have been trying times for those of us in student affairs. And for the last week or so, we've been working with students to try to help them understand the world that we're living in, not just COVID-19, but also the racial unrest that we're all experiencing. And it's a difficult story to tell. It's a difficult story to explain, but we're supporting our students who are fearful, who are passionate about social justice, and our community is dedicated to providing them with the narratives, with the stories that they need to help to go forward. And again, we are fortunate to live in a community where we can have a peaceful demonstration, where not only the demonstrators, but the police take a knee in honor of lives lost. So it's an important time for student affairs, and we're dedicated to meeting the challenge and helping our campus and our community continue to go forward, and we're gonna make a difference.
You know, I'm a Southern guy, and Southern boys always have stories to tell. And so I want to tell two stories about that. The most recent one first. On Wednesday night, there was a demonstration in Fayetteville related to the social unrest in our country. And in Fayetteville, 4,000 people showed up, including a number of our international students that were concerned about that and talked to us about that. 4,000 people showed up. The city of Fayetteville police showed up. the University of Arkansas Police Department showed up, the Washington County Police Department showed up. And while there was violence and there was confrontation between those people expressing their right to speak related to social injustice, there were terrible things happening across the country. In Fayetteville, 4,000 people expressed their opinion. They stood up for values of equity and justice and peace. They did that side by side with our law enforcement. It was completely peaceful. It was completely unlike what's happening in other cities in the United States. And I'm really so proud of our students, the citizens of Fayetteville, our law enforcement. It's really a remarkable story compared to what's happened, the tragedy of what's happened in other places. That was story number 2. Story number 1, what Melissa was talking about, how we take care of students. We had to close down the University of Arkansas Rome Center. And we're fortunate that we actually have an international campus where our students can go have a cross-cultural experience. At the Rome Center, we had a number of international students. 2 of those students came back, and as a result of them being in Italy, the Arkansas Department of Health required them to have a 14-day quarantine, complete isolation. Well, these 2 students were 4 international students. They had no family or friends in Fayetteville. They had no place to go. But what the staff of the University of Arkansas did, between the study abroad, between the International Students and Scholars Office, and between Student Affairs, we provided an Airbnb for those 2 students to stay in for 14 days. We provided all of their meals, all of their food, everything that they needed so they could satisfy the 14-day quarantine. They were supposed to take their temperature every 8 hours and report that to the Arkansas Department of Health. We had to provide thermometers for those students to do that. And, you know, I have no idea what those students think. I think they probably wrote it down like this is the wildest thing ever. You know, we came from somewhere else. We came to Fayetteville. We then went to Rome. We then had to come back to Fayetteville. And then we're told we have to be locked in the house for 14 days. But I was really proud of the way our staff was able to support them, get them out of that quarantine, get them back so they can continue their courses. Those 2 students satisfied all of their coursework this semester with really high levels of performance. It was incredible what those students were able to endure, but also what our faculty and staff were able to provide to them. And I was really proud of the staff of our faculty. You know, we still care about students, and every single student is really critically important to us. I want to tell one more story. I'm sure you probably already know that we have created an International Student Catastrophic Fund. For years, we've had international students who have come to campus, and then a catastrophe hits, and we have to figure out ways to support them. It might be a death in the family back home. It might be an appendicitis in an emergency surgery. In either case, that was not in their financial plan that they had when they came to Fayetteville to study. Well, because of the generosity of supporters of the university and really alumni from the university, we've established a catastrophic emergency fund for international students. Right now, we have a lot of students that are stranded in Fayetteville. They have lost their employment. We do have high unemployment like everywhere else. We have about 20% unemployment in Northwest Arkansas. So students who thought that they had a source of income from the summer find themselves now with no way to pay their rent or to buy food. But because we have an International Student Catastrophic Fund, we have the Dean Needy Family Graduate Student emergency fund, and we have a catastrophic fund for in the Division of Student Affairs. When our students are in an emergency need, because of the generosity of others, we can make sure they're not going hungry, the electricity and water is not shut off, the rent is being paid, the doctor's bills are being paid,
Cars are being repaired.
cars are being repaired so they can get to where they need to get to.
Laptops are provided.
Laptops are provided. It's really been a remarkable story. We've had over 100 requests to this fund, and every time we consider these stories, they're tragic, they're catastrophic. It's wonderful to know that our institution, because of alumni, because of friends, because of donors, we're able to support that. We'd be glad to entertain any questions you might have about student affairs or about graduate school and international education. If I tell it wrong, I've got Michael and Julie and Amy and Adnan and others that can correct me. So if you have questions for us, we'd be glad to answer those real quickly. That's free response. You have, don't raise your hand because I can't respond to that. You just got to speak up.
I got a question. So what is the outlook for bringing in new international students now? With all the political upheaval happening around the world, how are you going to factor drawing more students to Arkansas, which is a beautiful place?
That's a great question. The question was, what's the outlook for bringing international students to campus? Well, we're really grateful that a large portion of our international students who were seeking degrees are still on campus and or in the community or in the United States, and they can continue that. The applications for international students seeking a graduate degree are still very strong. We've seen a decrease this year of applications for degree-seeking international undergraduate students. And as any of you that are parents, that's obvious. You know, parents are probably not going to want their undergraduates, their 17, 18, 19-year-old student to travel. We are very concerned about the ability of those students to receive their immigration and their visa. Our immigration staff in Michael's shop, we're turning those around as quickly as humanly possible so that the students can receive their I-20s, their DS-2019s for scholars, so that they can then make an appointment for immigration and visas. We have heard a number of really positive replies from students that they're now being granted visa interviews. Those visa interviews are in July, in August. We heard that a student was granted a visa interview, but not until October. We heard that story today. Currently, at least as of yesterday morning was the last time I checked, the Department of State is not currently granting visas with a few exceptions. They actually made an exception this week for professional athletes to travel into the United States. So those don't include many of the students who would be pursuing graduate or undergraduate degrees at the University of Arkansas. But we see visa services slowly opening up. We're seeing consulates and embassies around the world slowly going back to work because the White House has said we are open for business. They understand that we need to reopen that. But we still have, the general word is visa services are indefinitely suspended. So, Michael, do you have any other input on that or any other updates from your viewpoint?
Yeah, right now I think the visa issue is important, but also some countries are still COVID hotspots, and so all of Europe and China and Brazil, someone who's been there can't come back into the United States for 14 days if they're not a U.S. citizen or permanent resident. So that's the second issue on top of the visa issue that we have. So if y'all have any homes in Bahamas or Cambodia that a student can stay for 14 days before they come in. We can rent them out and have them stay there and come back in.
Yeah, Kofi, Michael is right. Right now, because of the Arkansas Department of Health requirements, any student arriving from an international destination is required to have a 14-day quarantine. Now that starts the day they leave their country. So it does include days of transit. So 14 days from departure before they can arrive for activities on campus. So we're communicating with all of the students that are returning to campus and the students who have applied to come to campus this fall about that quarantine requirement. The staff in Michael's office and in Gloria's office of sponsored students and special programs is trying to make arrangements with facilities in Fayetteville, or even families in Fayetteville that are willing to host a visitor for 14 days under the Arkansas Department of Health quarantine statutes. Did that kind of answer your question, Kofi? It's a great question.
Yes, it did. Thank you very much, both of you and Michael.
Kurt, I like your idea of just getting a ranch in Montana and keeping everyone there for 2 weeks and then bringing them back.
That is a great idea.
Yeah, we thought a horse ranch for 14 days in Montana for horse rides, that would be the way to go, you know, or if we could have a 14-day rock camp somewhere where all of the students are quarantined together, maybe we could do that, but we haven't figured that out yet.
How many students are we expecting that will require this type of accommodation?
The question is, how many students are we expecting to facilitate that accommodation? Well, Michael can answer this. We think probably 20%, maybe 25% of our existing degree-seeking students who would return to campus would require that. So that might be, you know, 150 students. It's a number that we're communicating with that have to have that. Now, if they have an apartment in Fayetteville, they can quarantine themselves in their apartment in Fayetteville. That works really, really well. The other issue would be new arriving students. Most of our partners for international study abroad have suspended their international study abroad programs with us for this year. That's about 45 or 50 students a year that we are not expecting to arrive. Michael has a much better number or estimate of the number of I-20s that he has processed this year. Michael, do you have kind of an estimate of that, of how many students? If everybody could get a visa to be here by August 9th, what would that look like?
Right. So Missy, I think that's a great question. You know, when we issue an I-20, we're not sure where that person actually is. And so I think that's what we're doing right now is sending out questionnaires to all our returning students as well as our new students, just to find out where they're currently located. And they could be a Chinese national, but be living in Singapore. And so, they would have a different situation than someone coming from China. So yeah, that's a great question, and we're trying to figure that out right now to get a good number.
Michael, on the same note, are you having any, how do you call it, troubles getting people from China? Are they even granting them visas?
Well, currently, Kofi, there's the problem with the visa, but also with the transportation. They're still considered a ban from the United States for COVID, and so someone coming from China can't come in. Even if a Chinese national who's in Singapore could come in, but a Chinese national who's in China can't come in because of the COVID. So it's depending on where they're staying right now is the issue.
Mike,
I want let me interrupt the conversation just for a minute. I want to welcome a new arrival. We're all having a virtual happy hour. It's almost 6 o'clock in Fayetteville, but it's 6 o'clock in the morning in Kuala Lumpur. And we just have one of our alumni, Zul, who's a good friend of mine, who just logged in from Kuala Lumpur. Good morning, Zul. You want to say hi? A happy hour breakfast, that's unique. I hope
Hello,
it's got
everyone.
involved.
Good morning from Kuala Lumpur. How are you?
We're good. Thank you for being here. We're glad you could join us.
Yeah, sorry I'm late. It's still very early here.
Yeah, 6 o'clock a.m. Anybody that normally is up at 6 a.m. is a very dedicated alumni. If you're logging in, we only have a few
thank you
more
very much.
left. Any other questions, or does anybody have a really interesting quarantine time story they'd like to share? The best movie, the best TV, the best book, the best jigsaw puzzle, the best street painting. Anybody got something they'd like to share about their quarantine time? Best cooking? How many of y'all started making bread? We started, well, we've made bread off and on for years, but Melissa's really become an expert sourdough bread maker. Anybody got any interesting quarantine stories you'd like to share?
And this may not be as interesting, but more on the question side. I'm sorry. I have one question. So, as an alumni who was working in Washington D.C., I was able to attend a few of social functions that y'all do for University of Arkansas alumni. But now that I travel back to Japan, my home country, it has been difficult. So I guess I would say the silver lining of this coronavirus pandemic is that this online format is more common now. Do you all plan to do outreach activities for alumni in the future, even after coronavirus, or no? Because this has been very great today. I got to see so many of y'all I haven't seen for many years.
Well, I'll answer it from my perspective, then Julie Olson, and then maybe Deb Ucolano can answer it from their perspective. In the last 3 years, since Julie Olson has worked with us, we have made developing relationships with our international alumni a priority. We want to connect with you. We think that's very, very important. We're trying to figure out the right way to do that. This coronavirus has forced us to think about these virtual formats. So we think that there might be many more virtual alumni organizations that could form, kind of alumni clubs as they might be. It'd be great to have a Japanese Arkansas alumni club. I would love that. And then we could have these kind of functions with you. And I would have to get up a little earlier or stay up a little later, but I'd be willing, I would be willing to do that for Zul, Actually, I'm meeting with Zul early in the morning next week. But we would like to do that. We're looking for new and innovative ways to engage our alumni and our friends. And this has forced us to think that this is not a bad format. I'm having a great time. I don't know about you all. It's great to connect. Julie or Deb or anybody else have a thoughts on that?
Well, I agree. I think we've learned a lot through this COVID pandemic with virtual events. And I think they're going to be here for a while, but it gives us another way to reach out to our alumni. So we're already talking about, continuing some of these for the fall semester and into the spring if necessary. So we encourage other departments to do that as well.
Well, good to hear. Thank you so much.
Julie Olson, what are your thoughts?
Absolutely. We would, and Dean Romerench mentioned before the pandemic, we actually were able to travel to some places around the world with his recruitment, with some of our faculty and our international recruiter, Carl Anderson. So last year, Cecilia helped us coordinate some alumni events in Bolivia in 3 cities. We met Zool when Dean Rome and Dr. Peter Unger, who's director of our Environmental Dynamics program, he and Carl Anderson were in Southeast Asia last March. So we had 5 events in Singapore and Malaysia and 3 events in Indonesia. So we would love to talk with all of you who would be interested in helping us organize, for the time being, virtual alumni gatherings so that you can get together both with your fellow Razorback alumni in Japan or Malaysia or Bolivia or wherever you are, and also to reconnect with your friends all around the world. So I'm gonna put my email address in the chat box, and I'd love to hear from you.
Okay,
That's great.
our time has run out, and I know everybody's time is precious. I don't know, maybe not. Maybe you're all sequestered home and you're glad to do something. But we have one more order of business. This is a University of Arkansas alumni event. And you know, there's one thing that binds us all, very embarrassingly. We need to call those hogs. So, would you join me right now, worldwide, wherever you're at? You don't have to stand up because then you're out of field of view. We'd see if we're wearing pajama bottoms or not. So you're sitting down. But I tell you what, let's call those hogs 3 times. Woo pig suey, go hogs. Y'all ready?
Yep.
Here we go. Everybody turn on their microphones first. We have got to get this. Julie Olson or Deb Ucolano, can you record this?
It's recording. It's being recorded, yeah.
The worldwide hog call. We have to get this recorded. Somebody record this right now. Here we go. Are you ready?
Razorback.
Look at the baby. Arkansas, Kuala Lumpur, Dallas, Texas, Washington, D.C., Tokyo, Japan. It doesn't matter. We're really pleased that you were here. Thank you for joining us. Mary Kate and the Alumni Association.
Thank you.
Julie Olson, thank you for setting this up. I have had so much fun tonight. This is wonderful. Anytime. Thanks for staying connected. We love you guys. Thanks a lot. Everybody have a great evening.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Good evening.
Bye, everyone. Bye.